17-year-old gasket. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just laughing at me. Oh no, Gasketto. If anyone's watching this and has a parts cleaner that they want to send me for nothing, that'd be smashing. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. So today, plans all went to pot for the video that I had planned to do, because when I tried to open the car this morning, it wouldn't open with the key fob. Went in and got the spare key, it didn't open it either. So I had to use the little key that comes in your key fob, little metal key that you can pull out of your key fob, and just manually open the driver's door, start the car and bring it into the garage here. So I got the error message on the dashboard that said convenience functions are not available, or words to that effect. Basically, the battery in the back is dead. So the battery in the back I replaced when I got the car because it was sweaty and I wanted to replace it with a new one anyway. So when I tested it with my multimeter, it's now sitting over here where we're getting 11.4 volts. Now, someone correct me in the comments, but I believe that the convenience functions in this car will shut down anything below about 12, which is what happened. So you can get into the car by just using the little key into your lock, popping it open. It will bring up the lock manually. Car will start because the battery in the front's good, but that mess will come up. Now, it will charge the battery in the back as you're driving, so everything will start kicking back into life. But if you leave it parked up for a wee while, a couple of days or whatever, it'll probably die again. So 12.6 volts new to 11.4 is quite a hefty loss. So I've got it charging here with my C-Tech because we're going to charge it up fully and run a few tests and see if we can find the culprit. 11.9 odds, and we'll see if we can get it up to 12. And the C-Tech will tell you when it's fully ready, because all these lights will light up. It's now at stage 2, forgive it being upside down, of an EGM battery, and all the way up to 8 will light up once it's fully charged. So we'll come back in a couple of hours and check on it, and we'll check for a draw off the negative cable. I do have a sneaky suspicion about what this could be. You've heard me banging on about that, how I don't like it, the command unit. Well, recently it has been playing up. I got an error message in a previous video, which I'll link up in the cards. But it has been turning on with the car, sitting at the Mercedes screen, and the on-off button basically does nothing. It doesn't switch it on, off or on, and it will sit in the Mercedes screen until you either shut the car off or drive around for a good 10-15 minutes. Then it'll kick back into life. So when I get out the car, I always press the button to turn it off. But I think even that's now not working properly, and I think that could be that's my first port of call, that's causing the drain when we shut the car off. So once I get the battery back charged fully, we'll stick it back in, we'll get into the fuse box behind the driver's seat, and we'll see what the heck's going on with this drain, because I've just had the hydraulic and the PSE pump out just to make sure no water's got in here, and this was absolutely dry as a bone. I've just put the foam back on. The PSE pump's underneath, all the yellow hoses go to it for the door locks and stuff. Everything's dry as a bone because I've fixed all the leaks in this car. I'd have been really cheesed off if it hadn't been. So they're okay in terms of damage. The battery compartment's as dry as a bone. There's no water ingress in this car whatsoever. And it has been chucking it down for a good couple of days. So I suspect Mr. 2005 command unit could be the issue. If it's not that, we just keep going with fuses until we find the culprit. And I'll find it, don't you worry. No way on earth that I'm letting this spoil my enjoyment of the great British summertime, which, yeah, okay, good time for it to do it. It's like, good time for you to play up. It's raining, it's absolutely pouring. We've had our summer probably come and gone. So it did know, maybe the car knew that. Maybe I thought, I'll keep myself going while the weather's good. And I'll allow Dave to get the enjoyment out of me when the weather's nice, and then I'll pack in on him. And I'll drain my battery that you just spent $200 buying. But anyway, we'll sort you out, don't you worry. So we're back in the workshop here. And we've got a few jobs to do. We're going to do the valve cover gaskets while he's in. I've also got some new wing mirrors coming, and they're not direct replacements. They're very, very cool. We're going to fit them if they arrive today. I'm not going to fit them today. That's the job I was going to do until the battery died on me. So we'll see. And then I've also got some carbon fibre wrap for these panels here on the back. And I've got a couple of 12 volt adapters that I'm using to Bluetooth music to this command unit. And before you say it, it wasn't a 12 volt adapter that was causing the drain. I took it out and tested it, the battery, and it was still draining when that was out. So I'm going to do a review on them. And I'm going to fix this little guy. Now everyone that's got one of these cars will know exactly where this comes from on the car. And they'll know that they always break, and you're buying a used one, chances are one of these will be off or missing. So it's the roof hinge flap, and there's two of them. So I've dismantled this one, taken the spring out and stuff, and I have a 3D printed new hinge that we're going to fit in its place. But you have to grind down, using a Dremel here, the existing points of contact that are on the panel on the car. And of course, with the convenience functions been off, I couldn't put the roof down. So charge the battery first, and let's get to it. You will live again, my friend, have no fear. Okay, it's the next day, and the battery, according to the CTEC, is fully charged. It's up at number 7 there, which basically means if the battery voltage does drop, the charging cycle will kick back into life. So we should be reading over 12.6 volts in this battery. There we are, we're reading 13.6, and it is still on charge. So battery is full. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the battery for a wee while and just make sure it doesn't drop below 12.6 volts. So we'll turn off the CTEC, and what we'll do after that is stick it back into the car and check for any draw. Now, I did have another thought of what this could be. There is a fuse for the PSE pump which would stop the doors unlocking with the key fob, and if that's blown, I can replace that fuse and try it again. Chances are it'll probably blow again if there's something wrong with the pump, but that is another thing that I'm going to test. The only funny thing about this was when I did press the key, the lights, indicator lights, didn't even flash. So nothing was working, and the boot did actually open manually when I pressed it with my hand. So I didn't use a little metal key, I just opened it manually with a flap underneath, which would suggest that the PSE pump was still operational. So two things that the draw could be, either the radio or the PSE pump. So but while we're doing that, we'll make a start and do the valve cover gaskets while we're waiting in the battery charging last night and making sure that it holds a charge for a good wee while. So plenty of jobs to do. So we'll crack on with that, and then we'll see how we get on with our diagnosis of the parasitic drain. Alright, so we're going to remove the valve covers because the oil is pretty bad. It's leaking pretty badly, and I'll zoom in closer so you can see. I've already taken off one of the coil packs there, and you can see all the oil collating around about them. It's dripping onto the alternator, and it's dripping onto the exhaust manifold and making a bit of a smell. So PCV hoses, disconnect that one there, it just pops off, and it's a Torx bit for the screws inside the coil packs, and then a star bit or reverse Torx for the 9 bolts that are around the valve cover itself. Don't drop these down there, I'll be there all day trying to fish them out. There we go. Now I can see the other 3 bolts that I need to take out. You can see there where the oil starts to pull, and eventually, look, gets down right into the coil packs down there, and just gets everywhere. Messy, messy, messy. E10 reverse Torx star bit. And these aren't on that tight. These will just be 10 Newton meters of torque. There you go, that was off straight away. So there's 9 of these in total, 2 in the top here, the big long ones. Well, they're easy to get into once the coils are out of the way, the packs. Why does that have to happen? There we go. Usually find something that someone's dropped, and it's usually a 10mm socket. I'm going to open up an engine one day and find a bag of cash. It would be quite good. Someone's stashed away somewhere. Okay, let's see how easily this lifts off. I've never been off this car in its life, I don't think. 17-year-old gasket. Oh my goodness. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's just laughing at me. It wanted to come off. It was like, please, change the gasket in me, I'm dead. What is stopping you down here? Something doesn't like it. There we are. Yes! One completely caked valve cover gap. This is brilliant. That came off really easy. Guess what we're going to do with this? We're going to clean it up. So there we go, we've got the driver's side valve cover off. The gasket's still there, I'm about to take it off. But in general, the engine looks pretty good. The oil's pretty clean, and there's nothing there that would suggest that it hasn't had oil changes every year or so. So I'm pretty happy with the look of it. You can see all down there where the oil's been getting out, look at that. Dripping onto the coil packs, dripping onto the manifold and causing a smell. Not desirable to have leaking oil, so we're going to clean this up, but here is the dirty valve cover. So we'll clean that first. And this little cover here comes off as a gasket between this cover and the main one, which you can't buy. So I'm going to use some RTV and replace that, so let's crack on. We ran out of rubber gloves. Use this instead. Off you come. There we have it. Uno gasketto. Okay, cleaning time. And this little cover comes off as well. As you come. Here's a little top cover on the valve cover gasket, and as you can see there's channels for a gasket, but they don't make one for it, or should I say they don't sell ones anymore. So this is all RTV. which means a good few minutes here scraping out the old RTV. Then we'll put in some new stuff. Excuse me. And we'll clean this up. Oh, there you go, something fell out. What was that? An O-ring. Right, so to put the small cover back onto the main cover, like I said before, Mercedes don't sell a gasket for it. So we use this RTV. This could get messy. Yeah, that'll do it. That's got a cure time of about 5 minutes before it starts to harden. You're supposed to put it on before that happens, so it's about 2 or 3 minutes actually putting it on. Maybe not the neatest job in the world. There's got to be someone that can do it better. This will do me. Get out of the way. If anyone's watching this and has a parts cleaner that they want to send me for nothing, that'd be smashing. Sweating, if you're watching this and you take orders for your aqua cleaner, then that's fine as well. I'll take it, because it saved me a lot of time doing this. There we go. And what you'll find is the 2 screws that hold this on, you're better putting them in now, because the RTV squeezes into the hole. Never enough cloths. I wish Mercedes just sold a gasket for this. I hate the mess. That's not bad though. That's okay. Mercedes, if you're watching, make a valve cover for that gasket for that lady. It didn't cost you much. Ideally you wait a good wee while before putting any heat onto this, so we'll probably fit this later on today and start the engine tomorrow. Check for leaks. No way this should leak, that's for sure. Yeah, that's not bad. This is clean, in inverted commas, but you know, without a proper parts washer, I'm probably never going to get that clean. Or I could spend hours doing it. But the reality is, the engine cover goes on top of it anyway, so I'm not wasting any more of my time on that. Easily see the red RTV. That's not bad for neatness wise. Oh, a wee bit of a splodge there. That's not bad. That's a good line. Okay, so now we're finally ready to put the cover back on. These are out the way. I've got one ignition coil still to fit on. We'll just wait and we'll keep this one out of the way just now. New gaskets on, just into the channel with the cover. Let's see how it goes, man. What does it not like? There we are. That's it. There we go. What we'll just do is we'll just double check that I haven't kinked the gasket anywhere. And it is definitely in place. Where is my inspection mirror when you need it? There we are. One of these little guys is really handy. You can just check things, and it's got a light built in. You can just have a wee look. There's a gasket there. You can see it absolutely perfectly seated around the curve. This is when it gets annoying, because now I've seen some oil residue that I haven't tidied up. I need to clean that. So it looks good everywhere. Now all you need to do is figure out what bolts you took out went into which holes. Oh wait a minute! Yes, we came up with this, didn't we? Top is the 2 longest bolts are at the top. That's them. And that's your pattern. So we'll go with this little guy first. And he goes at the top right. Let's go for it. Superb. Let's just pretend for a second that I invented that idea. that's the case, this video deserves to go viral. There we are. So just put these in loosely. They don't get torqued down too much. They're only like 10 Newton meters of torque or something like that. 8 or 10, I think it's. We'll go for 10. And that'll do it. We'll just put them in by hand just now. If I was being really picky, I should have cleaned all these bolts off, but like I say, you don't see any of this in the car, and I don't have a parts washer that I can do things quickly in. Oh, the gloves are off. We need to get little fingers in there. There we go. So all you electric car guys don't have this to look forward to, eh? You feel as if you're missing out. All this good stuff. 10 Newton meters of torque. Initial start. On the top middle. There we go. There we go. Don't forget the PCV hose, of course. I almost did forget that wee guy. Rinse and repeat on the other side. However, the other side does have one major difference. Well, I say one major difference. It's basically this. Oh, there's the rain on. Exactly the same process, but you probably need to loosen this 17mm nut here for the fuel line. And there's 1, 2 PCV hoses to consider as well. So basically the same, just a few other things in the way on this side. And this part again comes off the top. That'll be another wee RTV gasket we need to make. So we'll do that shortly. There will be some fuel spillage now, so just get a little cloth. Plenty of space in this engine bay though, look at that. I could practically stand in there. Alright, so we're back to testing this battery, which I've had on charge for quite some time. And it's currently reading 12.65 or 64 volts, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want it to read after a full charge. So its time is now about 6 PM, 10 past 6 or so at night. So I'm going to come back out here about 10 o'clock at night and see if it's lost any charge whatsoever. Hopefully it hasn't, and then we can rule out the battery as being the issue with the drain. Okay, so we'll check back in a few hours time. A couple of minutes for you, probably a couple of seconds for you even. Okay, it's now 4 hours later. What are we at? 12.59, 12.6. It was 12.65 earlier on, but that's still okay. So it's lost 0.05 of a volt. So let's see what it's like in the morning. I need to try this again because it has still went down a wee tiny bit. Right, so came back and checked this morning. It was still at 12.54 volts. It's just slightly less than it was last night. So it's holding the charge overnight, mostly. So I gave it a little boost on the C-Tech this morning. And 12.7 volts. So it looks as if the battery is okay. So what we'll do is we'll give it another boost for the day and we'll plug it back into the car, and then we'll see where the drain's coming from. It's got to be a drain. Alright, so we're going to wrap this video up here, and in the next part we're going to put the battery back into the car, check and see if we've got any current drain on it and then what circuit is causing it. We're also going to finish off the valve cover gasket job on the other side, and you'll see in the next video that wasn't the end of my problems with the valve cover gasket job. There's smoke where there shouldn't be smoke, so we'll see what caused that. And if you want to hit the like button, hit subscribe. YouTube will very kindly tell you when I release the next video. So please comment below if I've done anything stupid, or if you think I could check anything else on this car while I've got it here. And hopefully the next video will be getting this car completely sorted and getting it back out onto the road to enjoy the remainder of the summer. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.